and welcome back to Let's Play Mother, aka Earthbound Beginnings, for the final time. Last time, we cleaned up a few loose ends, took care of some side quests, and then began our ascent up Mount Itoy. Once we made it to the plateau, though, after a somewhat romantic scene between Ninten and Anna, unfortunately, Teddy was critically wounded in a battle with a giant robot. Lloyd came in with the save with his tank, but it was too late for Teddy, so we're going to have to make the rest of the trip without him. Definitely a daunting proposition, but we'll do the best we can. Ideally, we don't get mauled by grizzly bears along the way. Rockoils are enemies that you also should just do your level best to avoid. These guys have access to a variety of PK freeze skills, the most dangerous of which is PK Freeze Omega, which deals 80 to 100 damage to the entire party. Not worth risking the chance of getting hit by. They also have Gamma, which is guaranteed to put you in critical condition, so just a ton of nasty things to deal with from those guys. Not worth the effort to fight against them. Now, Lloyd is required to actually progress and beat the game at least a little bit on Mount Itoy, because this boat right here, the boat motor appears to be broken, but Lloyd fired it right up. If you check out this boat with Teddy, Teddy does not have the technical know-how to fix the boat. You need to have Lloyd in your party in order to fix the boat. But you don't necessarily have to come here when Teddy is in your party. You could come here with Lloyd first, and we'll double back to that. But for right now, getting sucked into that whirlpool, as foolish as it might seem, I just kind of drove the boat right in there, that is actually the intended thing to do, as it was actually the entrance to a secret underwater lab. You can also speed up the descent of the elevator by holding the run button there, just like when we were getting escorted around in Marysville. As long as your characters are still moving, even if they are locked into a sort of cutscene action, you can use the run button to speed up the game. Sadly, not something that works in the GBA version. Anyways, this underground lab has the aesthetics of the factory levels, but we've got these windows that show the fish beyond the lab itself. It's nice to see that there is some non-hostile life on Mount Itoy. We've mostly been running into things that absolutely want to see us dead, and are more than capable of making things that way. But what exactly are we even looking for, or even doing in this lab? Hey, a ladder? Let's climb up that. Hey, just me, or does it look like that glass is beginning to crack? Well, perhaps I should pay more attention to the thing right in front of me. What are you? Who are you talking to? Well, I'm talking to this robot. Come on. Feeling Ninten's presence, the robot came back to life. My name is Eve. I have been waiting for you. My creator was George. He was taken to the end of the universe, then brought back later. I am here to protect you. That is my purpose. George, hey, that was the guy in the introduction. We haven't heard about him, well, since the introduction. But with that, we now have access to Eve. What exactly does Eve do for us? Well, she is a party member that goes into a fourth slot, so to speak. She's not someone we can control directly. She is a guest party member. She will automatically take her action when we begin the combat phase of battle, and she is very quick. She will always go first. You know what else there is to know about Eve? Eve is incredibly powerful, often dealing between 800 and 1000 damage, enough to one-shot anything on the mountain. Eve is going to be our protector. As she said, with Eve in tow, we are able to make our way up Mount Itoy with minimal difficulty. Now we can just guard and let Eve destroy everything for us. Funnily enough, the enemies that I'm running into right now, Mooks, these are one of the more fightable enemies for your party on Mount Itoy, but we may as well let Eve take care of things for us. Now, something important to note when you get Eve into the party. You cannot backtrack at this point. If you try to go back to the healer hut, you will run into a big problem that will deny you Eve. I'll go into more detail on what that problem is later. For right now, though, the only way is forward. We must continue up the mountain with Eve. So, while we've got Eve in tow, other things to note about Eve is she is actually, very unusually, taking most of the hits for us right now. Unlike the Flying Men, who were the previous guest party members that we had, you know, the true guests who we couldn't control directly, they were just strictly AI controlled, Eve will not always take hits for us. Our party members can still be the target of an incoming attack, which is why I'm opting to have everyone guard. Now, I'm just letting these fights play out, because I actually do have quite a bit to say, and there isn't actually that much more left to Mounty Toy once we get Eve in the party. Eve's purpose, beyond just protecting us, is a little bit more non-obvious, but she is required to turn on or activate in order to complete the game. What she will do for us will become apparent later, after we actually get her loser from the party, actually. Yeah, unfortunately, Eve is not a permanent addition, as you probably would imagine. Now, something that I was actually going to show off at the start of this video, remember the guitar playing guy in Magic Hand? You might have forgotten about him, but he didn't even realize he was playing the guitar. Now, I don't know what happens. I was going to start this video off by showing off the dialogue that he gives you after you've reached a certain point in the game. He wanted us to come back when we were stronger, and off-screen, I did go back and talk to him, and he gave me the new dialogue, but I was trying to start this recording and going to talk to him. New PSI power gain through battle. What did we even get? It doesn't really matter at this point. I'm not sure. Oh, the defense down beta that we got. We didn't have that before. But when I was starting this recording and going back to talk to him, he wasn't giving me the new dialogue. The dialogue he was supposed to give me was actually a very overt hint to all of the melodies in the game. He sings a new song that tells you where you should be looking to get each of the 8 melodies. Kind of interesting, and it was not something I'd ever seen before, but when I was loading up my save state to go back and talk to him, he wasn't doing it anymore, and I'm not really sure what went wrong. Anyways, we're now trying to make our way to the peak of Mounty Toy, so you want to go up these hills, up these ropes, and as we keep going, Eve will just take out everything for us. We're still going to be running into new enemies as we ascend the mountain, so be prepared. Omega Borgs and Gigaborgs, very much not worth your time to fight. They are also pretty overtuned. Yeah, I was guarding there, and that guy still did 50 damage to me. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, the other things I'd like to go over with Eve in tow is that, what we can do in regards to the ending. We've got the intended party to finish the game with, Ninten, Anna, and Lloyd, but this is not the only party you can potentially finish the game with. Funnily enough, this doesn't really have much bearing on the ending in the Famicom version, but in the NES version, this actually can result in some continuity errors, but we've got the intended party right now. If you were to come to Mount Toy first, and then have Lloyd do the boat, get Eve, and then have Eve complete her purpose in the story, and have her removed from the party, just get what you need from her, then you could go back and trigger the stage show to get Teddy into the party. Alternatively, if we came here with Teddy and he was wounded, we could instead, when we are back in the house with just Anna, we could actually just leave the house without Lloyd or Teddy and go on and finish the game with just Ninten and Anna. Alternatively, I demonstrated this last time, but Last Starman. Last Starman is, as you'd imagine, the final variant of the Starmen, and they can come into groups of 4. Like the previous iterations of the Starmen, they like to use PK Beam Gamma, and they are the most prone to doing so, which can potentially work for us since we have Franklin badges. They can also try to use PK Beam Beta on you, the less desirable thing for them to do. These guys are probably the most worthwhile enemy in terms of experience in the game. Or on Mounty Toy, I should say specifically. Some people like to have Eve and the protection she affords you to use her as a means to level grind your characters, but most of the enemies on Mounty Toy actually give really bad experience compared to the stuff just outside of it, so I really wouldn't recommend doing any level grinding here. Outside of LA is the best place to just do your level grinding. It's just the stuff that you can beat the most consistently with the least amount of headaches. But yeah, to go back, you could just finish the game with Nita and Anna, or, like I showed, you could leave the dance room via the Onyx Hook, or possibly the breadcrumbs. I haven't actually tested that, but you can definitely leave with the Onyx Hook, and then go and finish the game with Ninten. You could also just never bother with recruiting Anna or Teddy, and finish the game with just Ninten and Lloyd. Lloyd is the only party member you actually have to recruit in the game, obviously because he fires off the rocket in Duncan's factory, but also he is the one who can activate the boat on Mounty Toy. There is actually a couple of different variations, a couple more variations that of what your party can look like to finish the game with in the Famicom version. But that is due to a glitch, and we will go over that in a bit. The other thing to note about possible party variations you can have for the endgame. You can never have a party without Ninten, obviously, because he's the main character. You can never have a party that's just Ninten and Teddy, and you can never have a party that's just Teddy and Lloyd on the same team, because of course, Teddy and Lloyd are mutually exclusive characters. You have to swap one out for the other. So there is some, if you're very enterprising, you can find some pretty convoluted ways or party configurations to finish the game with, including some very amusing ones. And there we go, get a few level ups for everyone. Again, it's really not worth your time to do any grinding, but I won't say no to any more levels for Lloyd. He's fallen quite a bit behind the party due to, you know, sitting out while Teddy did all the heavy lifting for our previous training session, so he is not doing so great. That rope up just leads to a dead end. You want to start heading to the right here. Poor Lloyd, he got smoked with the PK Beam Gamma, but that's okay, because we have more than enough psychic points to just use super healing pretty liberally at this point. We actually have a slight detour coming up that allows us to get an interesting, though admittedly not terribly useful item. Honestly, if it's just 3 last Starmen, I might actually just have my party help Eve out here. Note that we actually have PK Beam Gamma now, and PK Beam Gamma does work on most enemies in the game. Very few things are actually immune to it. The Barbots are the only thing I know offhand that actually do just completely no-sell it. So now we can actually have Anna eliminate enemies for us very easily, and that allows us to clear out some battles a bit more efficiently. Unfortunately, we don't have Teddy's overwhelming strength anymore, and Ninten and Lloyd, even with their best weapons, really can't compare, so they do struggle a bit to actually finish off the enemies by their lonesome. Okay, we're actually getting pretty close to level 29, which, in my opinion, is the ideal level to finish the game with Ninten at, because that's the level that he learns Life Up Beta. Let me see, we want to go up this hill here, and off to the right we can find a side path, and anything past that really isn't necessary. It's just a nice convenience at best. But I'm not going to actively try to grind for that level. I've got enough resources in tow that I don't really need Life Up Beta. And Life Up Beta itself, it's just a convenience. Like the other skills that you could learn beyond level 29. The next best level to stop at, if you want to keep going, is level 31, because that's when Ninten learns PSI Shield Beta, and he can get that out way sooner than Anna can, which is very useful. In this present, we get a C Pendant, a pretty cool item in theory. The C Pendant, when you use it, it will defend against all PSI attacks. Obviously, a better version of the H2O Pendant we have, since it guards against Thunder and Ice skills. But unfortunately, that description is actually a little bit incorrect. PK Beam skills cannot be resisted. They do a unique null-type damage that can never be resisted. It always hits you full force. That's why the Beam line of skills are so dangerous. Anyways, with that pendant in tow, there is actually, the reason I stopped here is there is a specific battle trigger point that is only active if you have Eve in your party. Keep going along this path with Eve in the party, and for the last time, we come across a robot, R7038XX. Like the previous iterations of the robots, we can't really do much damage to them. Unlike the previous iterations, where, you know, we might have some avenue to defeat them, whether it be just having a superior machine like a tank, Eve is not doing too well against this guy either. There is no way to beat this guy. Eve does not deal nearly enough damage to overtake him. This is actually unusual that the fight is going on this long. It is possible for Eve to continually dodge attacks, but, you know, your luck is going to run out sooner or later. Holy crap, that is the most attacks I've ever seen Eve dodge in a row. I wonder, there is something that could theoretically happen in this battle. I'll go more into a specific... Oh my goodness! 429 damage to Eve! There is a pretty amusing bug with fights in this game that we're going to go into more detail on later. But yeah, Eve is supposed to just get totaled within about 3 attacks. She is getting absolutely manhandled by this robot. That's not that big a deal, though, because when this guy's last attack finally connects, Eve explodes. The explosion is directed at R7038XX, destroying him, giving us some experience, but unfortunately, totaling Eve in the process. Yeah, just a temporary addition to our party. Rest in peace, Eve. You did your job well. Robot Eve was demolished and moved no more. Examining the wreckage caused music to start. Niten remembered the tune. Yes, Eve carried the 7th melody. Just one more to go. But where could it possibly be? Anyways, we don't have Eve in tow anymore, obviously. So now we are at high alert. We need to be as careful as possible in going forward. We do need to get a little bit further without Eve's help. And if we get killed, having to backtrack all this way without her, very, very difficult. A very daunting task. For our safety, we are just going to be forced de-slipping away from everything. There is no reason for us to actually try and fight it out with any of the enemies that we could potentially come across at this point. Unfortunately for us, most of them are a little bit faster than us, so there is a bit of peril baked into trying to escape from things. Fortunately, we don't have to go too far. If we can just get our luck to hold out a little bit, or mostly just, oh god, Juana. Juana is the worst enemy in the game. Ridiculously high stats. Just so difficult to actually face off against. She's got a super energy robot to keep her healed. PK Thunder Gamma is just absolutely brutal, unguarded. Thankfully, we have the C Pendant now, which keeps Ninten healthy. It's the best idea to put it on Ninten, just because that protects him against any PSI. But yeah, Juana is already functionally immune to our damage. She has like over 200 defense or something ridiculous. So we would just be dealing 1 damage to her regardless of anything. But she can also, like the previous Fembot, she can give a deer smile. Hey, Star Miner, this is one of the few enemies that you could actually potentially fight it out with, and what the heck, why don't we? I'll have Anna use PK Beam Gamma on it. This guy is actually capable of dropping super bombs. Your only way to obtain those without purchasing them, which is kind of cool. This guy also has 200 HP, so it is pretty difficult to take him down through brute force, especially if it turns out he's immune to PK Beam Gamma. Unfortunate. Luckily, immunity to PK Beam Gamma doesn't mean immunity to PK Beam Beta. Loves throwing the bombs at us. Maybe this was not a good idea, but I saw something that I could actually defeat in fair combat, and hey, Ninten getting smash attacks, that's close enough to an honest victory for me. Oof, that went brutal, though. Let's definitely heal up after that. You're going to be doing a lot of navigating the PSI menu if you actually decide to engage in honest fights with everything. This is why I've mostly been running from things. Don't worry too much about your PSI points at this point. We're right at the end of the game, and we have an excess of PSI stones. Honestly, I was intending to use them more frequently, because I knew full well that if I just hoarded them, I'd never find a good opportunity to use them, but I've gotten so efficient at playing the game that I've never really been able to find a good situation to use these stones in. I'm just doing fine without them. Heading up here. You know what, I was gonna cut this encounter out, but let's keep the thought going. You probably noticed that gravestone right in front of us. We just need to get past these Gigaborgs, and thankfully, Ninten does outspeed these things. Let's examine that gravestone and see what it has for us. Just take one look at it. Ninten, welcome. I always believed that you would find your way here. Your great-grandmother Maria's love was scattered in the form of melodies. I have a melody for you. Listen and remember. Ninten remembered the tune. The crystal fragments that had broken off stopped glowing and disappeared. We've gotten it. The final melody. All 8 have been collected. With that, our business at Mount Itoy is finished. I'm trying to get past it to just show, oh my god, Juana again, I hate this encounter so much. But yes, we don't need to stay on Mount Itoy anymore. We can leave. We have completed all our business here. PK Thunder Beta is a lot more manageable than PK Thunder Gamma. Let's just do 4th D-Slip, and I just want to go a little bit past the gravestone to show that there is another cave opening, but is currently blocked off with rocks. We need to return to Queen Mary now and sing the melodies to her. She couldn't remember her song, but now we have all 8 melodies. If you so desire, you could pull the ocarina out of the storage now and play your melodies on it, but that's not really necessary. I think Queen Mary is more into song. I just want to see if I can get the guitar guy's dialogue. He wasn't doing it when I tried to do it before. He has a very lengthy, listen to my song, a loving adventure in Nintendo. Okay, I'm thankful that I could get to see this. I don't know what triggers this, but he does have a hint song for you. Why do you cry, O Cupid doll? Canary sings so sadly. Monkey sings, piano plays. Maybe there is a ghost? Desert cactus so alone. Every night his sad, sad tone. The dragon sleeps, the note remains. Eve's last song has no refrain. On the mount named Toy, you must climb high, young boy. See the XX stone for the last tone. Then do not leave Queen Mary alone. La la lullaby, strange lullaby. Bye 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 bye. Goodbye. Sure is a nice song, isn't it? Well, it was something. He was supposed to say that to me when I was recording earlier, but he just, for whatever reason, I didn't trigger. I'm not sure what causes that to trigger. Possibly it's level related. Possibly he just has a random chance of singing the song for you when you enter the building, and I was just getting bad luck. Good luck the first time, of course. Regardless, that's all we need to do in Magicant. Of course, these weak enemies that we've long since outgrown will do their level best to get in our way. I'm not bothering to heal up now, because the game will give us a free full heal in a bit, so let's just continue on here. We don't need to solve this guy's riddle anymore, just talk to him and he will get out of the way. It's time to sing a song for Mary. If you've forgotten, we want to go into the second door here, and then the very first door we come across will lead us into Queen Mary's chamber. We've finally gotten all the melodies, Queen. Please sing to me the melodies that you have learned. Yes, that's right. That is the song. Oh, Geeg! I loved him. I loved him as if he was my own child. He was always wagging his tail, just like a pup. Except for when I tried to sing him lullabies. George, this is your wife, Maria. I'm coming to join you. My purpose is complete. After telling the story to Niten, with a rush of wind, Queen Mary vanished. As she disappeared, so did Magicant. Magicant was a mirage born of Maria's consciousness. And with that, we are warped back to George's grave at the peak of Magicant, fully healed and ready for the final battle. Once you have sung the 8 melodies to Queen Mary, actually Ninten's great-grandmother Maria, and yes, George is also Ninten's great-grandfather, the writer of the diary that helped us get into Magicant at the start. Everything is coming together now. We have to go beyond and find a creepy cavern. This music is unnerving. This side path right here is optional, but if you look in it, capsules with a variety of adults. This isn't readily apparent, but this is all of the adults that have been kidnapped from Youngtown. Presumably, Anna's mother is somewhere in here. We'd like to free them now, but we have more pressing issues. We have one final encounter. The orchestrator of all the strange phenomena that's been going on over America. Geeg. Who exactly is he? What exactly is he? Well, that just remains to be seen. He awaits us beyond this final door. But before we do that, There are a handful of things that I think are worth highlighting in the Famicom version of the game, and we're not going to have too many opportunities left to actually check these things out. I mean, we're right at the end of the game. So why don't I organize my inventory real quick in this version of the game, and let's pop on over to the Famicom version of Mother in order to highlight some interesting differences over there. Now, the very first difference we're checking out actually sees Teddy back in the party. And this isn't really a difference, I just think it's something that's kind of neat. When you collect Teddy's katana, you'll find that it is written in, the name is written out in Romaji. I'm not sure if they did this just because they thought it looked cool, or to kind of just like as a little fourth wall lean or break kind of thing. You know, the whole game takes place in America, and obviously everything is written in Japanese, because this is a game for a Japanese audience. But to highlight that this is a foreign weapon from a foreign land, it is instead written in English characters to highlight that contrast for the American characters looking at it. I just thought it was a little neat kind of thing if you look at it from that angle. That's not really the main focus of what we're trying to do here. The next thing I'd like to check out, let me see here, I forget which save state it is. Let me see here. Here we go. George's Grave. Now, I want to highlight something in particular here. I have not actually collected the 6th or the 7th melody yet. I only have 6. George's Grave is a little bit different in the Japanese version of the game. Namely, George's Grave is completely non-functional. You can check it, you can talk to it. If you try and get fancy and use telepathy on it, you'll find that you get no result. George's Grave at no point does anything. It is completely non-functional. It is just set dressing. Now, you may be curious, well, if this grave doesn't work, where do you get the 8th melody from? Patience, patience. There is another thing that I want to go back. We're, of course, going to double back a little bit, and let me see here. Yeah, here we go. To when we first got Eve. What I want to check out right now is heading back towards the healer's house. Remember how I said to not do that because you will run into problems if you go back to the healer's house. There's a very particular reason for that because the fight trigger for the R7038XX, that is not located in the one specific place towards the peak of Mounty Toy. There is actually a second place that you can encounter that fight trigger, specifically right behind the lake where you found Eve, by the healer's house. If you make your way back to the healer's house and you step between this upcoming valley, just gotta keep going a little bit. Remember that we can't run in this version. Okay, these are just omooks. Hold on a second. As I was saying, if you go through this valley to get back to the healer's house, you will run into R7038XX right away. Now, this time, we actually have a strategy we're going to employ here. I have got flea bags in my inventory. What flea bags do is that they cast offense down and defense down on the enemies. This is the only way you can actually cast offense down on anything. Now, normally, when you use this on mechanical enemies, it is not supposed to work. R7038XX is supposed to be immune to this, but as I've said previously, Mounty Toy was put into the game in a very unfinished state, and one of the ways that this is reflected is that they actually forgot to apply this immunity to R7038XX. So if you use the flea bags on him, he will actually lose considerable amounts of offense. With a single flea bag, he is doing close to no damage to Eve. With 2 flea bags, his damage output is tanked, and he can no longer do any meaningful damage to Eve. Check this out here. Well, if Eve didn't dodge there, we'll keep going until Eve actually does get hit. She would only be taking 1 to 2 points of damage, and Eve has 1,000 hit points to work with, so R7038 would need hundreds of turns to take her out, even after that initial hit where he got almost 100 damage. Now, here's the rub. First off, even though we lowered his defense by over 1,000 points, you notice that we're not really dealing any more damage to him. That's because he actually has a built-in resistance to attacks to make sure that he doesn't take any excess amounts of damage, and also to make sure that any smash attacks, actually I think he's immune to smash attacks, but you know what I mean. If somehow one got through, he wouldn't be affected by it too much either. Also, R7038XX has infinite hit points. You can attack him till the cows come home, and he will never fall over. He just keeps going and going and going. However, There is a flaw in Mother's battle system. Specifically, it has an internal counter that tracks how many turns have elapsed in a battle. This counter can only go up to 255. If it exceeds 255, the battle immediately ends. Not in a victory state, it just immediately ends, and you are kicked out of the field. If that happens, Eve technically did not die, and she will remain in the party. How exactly does that look? We'll check that out in a second. Now, obviously, 255 battles is a very, very, very long number of turns to sit through. Or 255 turns in battle, long number of turns to sit through. Even with using Nestopia's fast forward function and just holding that and letting auto battle go, it still took about 15 minutes for me to get through it. Doing it at real time, well, that's a good opportunity to go make dinner, I guess. So I'm not going to bore you with that details. I've got a separate save state with that already taken care of. But before we load into that, I actually just want to load past this real quick. At this save state, no, okay. So let's, we'll double back to that one. The one I actually wanted. Okay, wait, that's not right. Quick load states. Let me see here. I'm looking for this one right here. There we go. This cave, if you remember when we were walking along, this is the path to the sea pendant. This cave was not here. This is actually where the potted parents are located on Mounty Toy in the Famicom version. Notably, the cave just past George's grave, that does not feed into a cavern path. That actually feeds directly into the boss battle. You just immediately end up in the boss battle. Interesting little detail that I wanted to show off there. Now let's load back into that previous save state. So yeah, as you can see, this is after I waited out the 256 turns. Eve is in the party now still, but Eve's wreckage is still here. Finishing the battle, or rather, the trigger for the wreckage to spawn is just getting into the battle at all. Once it is finished with the timeout method, Eve remains in the party because she didn't die, but the wreckage is still there because it spawns in when the battle begins. And note that the R7038 fight only triggers once. Once the game knows Eve's wreckage is in the game, it will not spawn him anymore, so you get to keep Eve. You can carry her into the final boss, which is not as helpful as you might think. Now, the other thing that I'd like to highlight here is that I still have 6 melodies. I did not find an 8th melody anywhere. We only have those 6. What happens if we check Eve's wreckage in the Famicom version? Well, of course, you get the melody once again. And once it finishes, you are immediately warped back to Magicant. As you can see, the game really doesn't know what to do with Eve in this cutscene, and we are immediately taken back to Queen Mary, and we, she mentions Teddy even though he's not with us anymore. The 7 melodies we have are enough to trigger her memories of the full lullaby, so you do not have an 8th melody to collect. Once you have collected the 7 melodies, once you have collected the melody from Eve, you are warped back to Queen Mary, you sing your song, and I want to listen closely here. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't play there, the tone there, but it's enough that Queen Mary is able to remember the full melody, and she is the one that gives you the final melody in this version. Funny little change between the 2 versions of the game. Anyways, that's really what I wanted to check out here, but let's just go and see what happens when you step through that final door. Alright, here we are, back on the peak with Eve, a area that she is not normally supposed to be in. If you step through this cave, you are immediately thrust into the final boss battle. Let's pop over to Earthbound Beginnings to finish this off. One quick thing I'd like to note before we get into the final battle is that I moved a few of the life-up creams into Ninten's inventory so that he can use them. Also, if you try to use the Onyx hook, nothing happened. It is now non-functional. Let's go into the final battle of Mother, aka Earthbound Beginnings. Geek draws near, the final opponent of the game. First thing you want to do, more than anything else, have your party guard and have Anna set up a PSI shield beta. This will have Geeg's incoming damage. What is Geeg's attack? Ninten, I am grateful to your family. Well, I can't tell you what Geeg's attack is. The form of Geeg's attack is inexplicable. He's operating on a level that we just simply cannot comprehend. And that is a nasty bit of damage for Anna to have taken there. I honestly probably should have used... I should have used, what is it? Quick Up on Ninten to make sure he could go first this turn. Let's hope that he gets the life up cream out. Okay, oof, that was close. Your great-grandparents, George and Maria, raised me. Okay, now that we've got PSI Shield Beta up, this is the only form of protection you can have against Geeg's attacks. Note that we have the Power Shield ability now. The Power Shield ability reflects all incoming damage, but it has a chance to fail when you try to cast it, and it will always fail in battles such as the one with Geeg. What happens if we try to attack Geeg? Well, let's have Lloyd launch an attack at him and see what he can manage. But George stole vital information from our planet that can be used to betray my people. The form of Geeg's attack was inexplicable. If you try to launch any attacks at Geeg, he will suffer some damage, but you can attack him and attack him and attack him and attack him. He will not go down. He has infinite hit points. He will never fall over due to damage, so you need to just keep up your healing and hopefully outlast him. Let's have Lloyd use one of his life up creams on himself preemptively here. And now, one of his descendants is obstructing our plans and must be stopped. Ninten, I'm talking about you! So yeah, we have no choice but to just keep taking attacks from Geeg here. I used Life Up preemptively on Ninten to make sure that he was able to keep himself topped off. Next turn, I'm going to have him use a Life Up Cream. Lloyd will do the same for himself, and Anna should just be fine to guard this turn. Anna has Life Up Pie, but there is a very particular point in the fight where we want to use it. If we start spamming it right now, go home now, perish with the rest of the ugly Earth people. If we start spamming it right now, she will run out of psychic points before the battle is over. We need to hold out and just make sure that we have enough psychic points to finish the battle in good condition. There we go. You may have noticed a new command has populated our command list, the Sing command. Foolish one, you cannot do a thing with your meager powers. Powers worthy of a lowly insect. Now, if you're playing the Famicom version, the Sing command will not be in your command list right now. It does not appear until a very specific point in the battle. As you can imagine, the Sing command is necessary to defeat Geeg, but if you use it right now, it will accomplish nothing. You have to wait until Geeg finishes his spiel. Ninten, you alone. I may save you, just you alone. Board our mothership with me. Classic villain behavior for Geeg is to offer one last chance to the hero, join him, and we could be more powerful than the world could ever possibly manage. But I don't think Ninten would be the type to take him up on that offer, so let's just keep our guard strong here. Then fall into long sleep with your friends and the other ugly Earth people. It's at this point that once Geeg says that, the Sing command will populate your command list in the Famicom version, and now you can actually start advancing the battle to a victory state. If you were trying to actually out-damage him here, you were going to be fighting a severe uphill battle. The song, though, the 8 melodies, these are something that have deep personal significance to Geeg. This is the lullaby that his mother tried to sing for him. I think it's up to us to try and make him relive those memories. Geeg can potentially go faster than Ninten. He has a pretty good amount of speed. If your levels are in the high 30s, you should be able to outspeed him pretty consistently with Ninten. Ninten sang the song. Stop singing. Geeg will quickly interrupt you in your attempt to sing the song, but you have to persist. Stop Singing! Now we can keep on singing, and now that we've outlasted his initial onslaught, Anna can just spam life up high to keep the party healthy. Geeg can never get critical hits. His attacks are PSI in nature. They do not do any more damage than the fixed ranges that they work within. We can work that to our advantage and out-heal anything he does to us. Stop! Stop the song! If you were to start using Life Up High from the start of the battle, you would almost assuredly run out of PSI points before you had a chance to actually finish the battle. So that's why I wanted to play defensive before having Anna just heal tank for the party. Stop it! Stop that song! You must sing the song a specific number of times in order to defeat Geeg. I believe it's either 10 or 11 instances of the song. Even though it's 8 melodies, Geeg will interrupt it a couple more times than that, because he really does not want to hear it. Unfortunately for him, we are determined. You puny little earthbugs! Shut up and stop singing! He is really in his feelings over this song. We have to keep it up. The song! Yes, he is not enjoying this, but this is our avenue to defeat him. All his concentration is starting to leave him, and I think we're bringing up some feelings that he'd rather not be having right now. Note that the 8 melodies do actually have lyrics to them. There is an actual song on the Mother vocal album, if you're so curious to look it up later. Take a melody, simple as can be, give it some words and sweet harmony. Raise your voices all day. No, he's not gonna let me do that. Stop it! If you're curious what the full lyrics is, well, let's get back to that point in the song. Simple as can be, give it some words and sweet harmony. Raise your voices all day long now, love grows strong now. And sing a melody of love, oh love. And we are going to sing that melody. Geeg, whether you like it or not, you are going to listen. The form of Geeg's attacks may be inexplicable, but, well, our attacks, more than describable, but somehow that just affects him so much more deeply than anything that he couldn't comprehend. Or maybe there's something underlying that he can't comprehend that hurts him so badly. It's not exactly ever explicitly stated why this song is so damaging to Geeg. It is, and you can feel your own way about why it is. Stop. Please stop! We've got him on the ropes now. Just a couple more instances of singing the song, and he's done for. Alright, I think he's done for. We don't even need to heal up now. One more round of singing, and we've won. Geeg will be defeated. How could I be defeated by a song like that? I will, sometime. Ninten, we shall meet again. With Geeg defeated, his ship retracts into Mounty Toy. And then flies off into the great unknown, the vast reaches of space. Geeg has been defeated. Game is over. And with that, the game's credits begin to roll. That's it. Game's over. Just get to see Ninten, Lloyd, and Anna contemplatively stare at you. In the Famicom version of the game, there is not a proper ending, such as it is not what you'd be expecting. Again, Mounty Toy was slapped into the game basically unfinished. They were up on budget, up on time. They just had to put what they had into the game. And they had the final battle scripted, but no conclusion after it. Yes, I sneakily cut into the Famicom version, and this is the ending you get in the Famicom version. There is no more to it. The credits will roll, and once it's done, you will get a to be continue. That's not super satisfying, though, and it leaves a bunch of plot threads unresolved. Was Anna's mother ever found? Were the adults ever returned to Youngtown? Were they even alive? Perhaps they were sapped of their life in those pods. Did Teddy ever recover, or did he die? In the Famicom version, you never got any answers to those questions. This is where the game ends. And honestly, kind of an interesting ending in its own right. Really stimulates your thoughts and just leads you to contemplate what exactly happened. In Earthbound Beginnings, however, when they were localizing the game, in addition to just polishing up Mounty Toy a little bit, like not being able to fleabag R7038XX, a proper conclusion to the game was actually added. So why don't we switch over to that? Once again, we see Geeg's ship retract into the mountains, and then blast off into the reaches of space. This time, though, rather than the credits beginning to roll from where Geeg's ship formerly occupied, we have a proper epilogue now. At the summit of Mounty Toy, Anna is reunited with her mom as the rest of the freed Earth people exit the cave. Teddy, his health fully recovered, now sings daily at the live show. The kidnapped grown-ups return to their lonely children in Youngtown. I promise I won't forget you, so I will not say goodbye, just till we meet again. Anna returning to her father in the Snowman Chateau. Lloyd returns to a hero's welcome at Twinkle Elementary School. It's good to hear. They were so mean to him, but now they love him. And why wouldn't they? He's a hero. He helped save the world. Son, your sisters and I are so happy to see you back in one piece. How unbelievable that you are not hungry. Little bit of a mistake here. Minnie and Mimi now have the same color palette, making it impossible to tell which one is which in this scene. A letter from Ninten. I miss him so much. I hope we can get together again soon. That smile looks so wrong on Ninten's face. Oh, funny to me. Well, now that the Earth crisis is finally over, I think I'll just lay down for a moment and get that good honk shoo me sleep. And yes, we can see that Nintendo does not suffer from Charlie Brown baldness. He has a full head of black hair. And that is the ending of Earthbound Beginnings. Note that this is actually considered the canonical ending to the game. This was backported into the Mother 1+2 GBA port, and I've heard there's an emulated version of the Famicom version that also puts this in, but I've never actually confirmed that for myself, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, a proper ending was given to the game, plus some interesting additions like the final melody being obtained from George's grave, rather than being given to you by Queen Mary. And that is Mother, aka Earthbound Beginnings. Gotta get that one in there one last time. I hope you enjoyed this Let's Play as much as I enjoyed making it. It was really fun to go back to this game. Obviously, it's not the most mechanically rich or well-polished RPG you'll ever play, but it is endlessly unique, especially among games in the NES library. Not really any other games like it. I mean, gameplay-wise, obviously, there's Dragon Quest, but just the general tone, the aesthetics, the vibe, it's just also quintessential to this game itself. And obviously, Earthbound and Mother 3 would go on to build upon what this game did and do much more interesting things with the concepts that were put on display in this game. Obviously, as a directorial debut for Shigesato Itoi, his freshman outing was probably going to be a little rough around the edges, but thankfully he was not one to suffer from a sophomore slump, and each game after this was, well, yeah, there's only two, but each sequel, very great games in their own right. It was actually, I had a interesting thought process behind making this LP. I actually have a prior LP of this game on my channel. One that I made when I was 16 to 17 years old. It's been so long, I'm not exactly sure what the exact date I was putting it out. I was just looking at the playlist, it said it was 15 years ago. And it was constrained by a couple of things. First off, I just wasn't as thorough or interested in showing games off in their totality as I am these days, so there's a lot of stuff like the side quests that I just didn't bother to cover, and also it was made when YouTube still had a 10 to 11 minute time limit, and by the end of the LP I did get to benefit from the greatly increased 15 minute time limit, but that still meant that I had to be pretty concise in how I went through all the areas. So this is something of a remake for the game, and while I was doing my practice playthroughs, I got 2 playthroughs done of Earthbound Beginnings, and 1 playthrough of Mother for the Famicom, and I was just like, you know what, I want to go through both versions of the game and just show off some market differences, because there's a lot of things I was noticing that don't really get mentioned by other people. Like, until I got to that point in Mountie Toy and Mother myself, I did not know you were warped instantly to Queen Mary after getting Eve's melody, and that there was no 8th melody to collect from George's grave, and I've never seen that posted anywhere in the English-speaking world, so I wanted to show that off for myself, and, you know, it did add some time to producing the LP, but, you know, nothing that Nestopia's fast-forward function can't help with, so yeah, there it is, Player Cullen, and you have been the audience. Thank you so much for joining me on this. Thank you so much to Nintendo, thank you so much to Ape, thank you so much to Shigesato Itoi, of course, going through the efforts to convince Nintendo that your crazy idea was worth developing for their console. And one final stinger. I know that boy is home. Come on, son, and answer the phone. Something new has come up, and yes, we actually get to see Ninten's father in some capacity. This, of course, pretty famously a cliffhanger that was never directly followed up on. Earthbound has no mention of the scene, or Ninten for that matter, and while Gigas and Geeg are the same character, in fact, they have the same name in the Japanese releases of the game, no mention of what exactly happened to him between games and how he ended up in the horrible position he is as Gigas is really elaborated on. This is where the story of Mother 1 ends. Thank you so much for watching this LP. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Just gotta reiterate that, because it's easy to lose track of it in all my word soup. I'm gonna head out and work on the next thing that I want to do for my channel. Probably more videos for Look Outside, but hey, we'll see. As always, thank you so much. I hope to see you again. Until then, though, bye-bye.
I don't dispute the doubts you've outlined, but it's my right to waste your time.